This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petronovitch.
And I'm Kelley Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here.
Hey friends, and welcome to another episode of the Level Up Podcast. Kelley and I are back from a little hiatus that we took for a few weeks here at the end of summer, but we are so excited to be back. Kelley, how are you?
I am good. I'm kind of drowning, honestly, a little busy, but I'm good. It's kind of that light at the end of the tunnel. I can see in 2 weeks from now that I'll be able to have a little bit more work-life balance in my life. What about you, Taylor? The kids are back in school. I think we talked about this last month.
Yes. I'm doing good too. You guys, full transparency. This episode is going to be just like a completely candid conversation between Kelley and I. We're going to give you guys updates on what's going on in our lives, businesses, and just kind of chit-chatting and seeing where it takes us. I feel like it's great to have structure to episodes, but once in a while, it's also really, really nice to just be real with you guys. I'm probably not drowning quite as much as you are, but I'm still feeling a little bit of pressure. It's nice having the kids back in school. That's definitely something that makes things more manageable for sure. But as you guys know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, we just went through a pretty big launch, which comes with a workshop that we put on for, it was like over 1,500 photographers and filmmakers signed up for that, which was so much fun. And then literally just yesterday, at the time of recording, we started our fall mastermind program, which we are so excited about. So I love Level Up. I love this brand. I love everything we do here together. But sometimes that just means when I'm focusing more heavily, and Kelley, I think you would agree with this, when I'm focusing more heavily and taking more time to dedicate towards Level Up, the film side of things, so like Taylor Petronovitch, cinematography, kind of takes a small backseat. And so now I'm trying to get back into editing and doing all those things, which editing is not my most favorite thing ever. So sometimes it can feel hard to get back in the swing of things. It's kind of like getting back to the gym after you've taken 6 months off. It's those first few times going back is kind of a little bit more mentally challenging, but once I'm there, I'm content doing it. So I'm just kind of in that like mental battle.
Yeah. I remember you texted me. You're like, I don't like editing. I have to edit. I don't know. And then you got into editing a film, and then I got a text from you like a few hours later, and you're like, actually, I kind of love this. I won't lie.
It's like once you get into that state of flow, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love editing. It's probably one of my most favorite parts of the process. And actually a couple weeks ago, I needed to like really catch up on some editing. So Paul basically like took the kids for the whole weekend. I kind of just like locked myself in my bedroom and just like edited away. And it was like therapeutic for me. I love editing that much. Like it's literally therapeutic. And so I was able to like catch up a little bit on that. I probably need to do the same thing this weekend if I'm being honest. But yeah, it's just a busy time. I'm right now, like sometimes I think it's nice to like tell people like where our delivery windows are. Right now, I'm getting ready to deliver our June 22nd wedding, and we're sitting here mid-September. So I'm delivering at like just past that 12-week mark. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, so I have a wedding from the same weekend, and it'll probably be a week after you. So I don't feel too bad about it. I do like to deliver closer to that like 10 to 12 week window, ideally, but also being able to give myself and you like grace, considering, I mean, I wish I had the excuse if I just had a baby also, which you have, but I mean, it's fine. Honestly, so in my contract, it says 6 months. That is like my contracted delivery time, which is mostly just to protect me in case the worst case scenario happens. which I like that I have that, and it's never been an issue with clients. Sometimes I'll get planners asking like, hey, I see that it's a 6-month delivery window in your contract. Is that like accurate? And I just say like, no, generally speaking, I aim to deliver between that like 10 to 12 week mark. This is just to protect myself. It used to be a year. I used to have it in there as 12 months. And I was like, honestly, that's never going to happen. Like, I really don't need a 12-month buffer. That would be like I died and like my husband, James, would have to like find somebody who knows how to edit, I guess. Like that would probably be that situation.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
That would be, 12 months is a lot. And I feel like that would just raise some red flags. Like, you kind of already like sort of get like maybe some like yellow flags raised at the 6-month mark. But I think as long as you just like, like you said, clearly communicate what your set expectations are for yourself, it sounds like it's been fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine. So I kind of want to give like a little bit of an update, a glimpse behind the curtain as for what's been going on kind of on my side. And then I would love to hear all about you because I think you have more probably to share. So I think I had 7 weddings this year. They capped at 23,000, but that was for an Indian wedding. So that's like nearly, so it's like 8 hours of wedding day coverage, maybe 5 hours of like the Sangeet coverage, and then like 2 hours when they do like the henna tattoos and like some of that like morning
the welcome
stuff.
dances.
Yeah. So it's pretty local to me. It's only an hour away. So I plan on going, it's like that Thursday is that first day. I plan on just driving down there, driving back home, no big deal. And then Friday, I do plan on staying the night only because it's like a strangely early morning on Saturday. Like it's like a 7 a.m. start. So it's like an early wedding. It's very like non-traditional in terms of like hours go. So that'll be good. I feel like for 3 days, if I had to travel, 23,000 would be like really, really low. But since it's pretty local and I can still like be there to pick my kids up from school one of the days and things like that, I was happy to take that one. And then next weekend. So I think this is going to go live on September like 17th. So it's September 11th today as of recording. So next weekend, the week of the 20th and the 21st, I have a wedding that's at Stanley Ranch in Napa. That'll be great. I'm excited for that one. Next month, I have one at Montage Healdsburg and then that Indian wedding. So I feel like I spaced things out, like not on purpose, but like it just wound up that way. And I'm really happy about it. Full transparency, I took 1 or 2 weddings this year where I was flexible on rates just to like get in with certain planners. So a small financial sacrifice for a greater outcome in the future. So we get a lot of people, I feel like, asking us like, okay, well, what's a situation where maybe you would discount, or I never will discount, or people have very strong opinions about that. And this is something we walk our students through pretty heavily. It's just like being able to distinguish when it's a yes and when it's a no, and having your own kind of set of criteria that those things need to fit. I don't feel like we need to be super stuck in the mud, like a stick stuck in the mud with things, like super inflexible. I think flexibility is really great.
Yeah. I put together a proposal and I kind of just, without even kind of mentioning it to the planners, it's a planner who carries a brand and an aesthetic that I would like to kind of move 618 a little bit more into. And it was coming up pretty soon. It was, we're sitting here at September 11th and it's for November 16th. So I haven't heard back on if I'm going to get it, but it was rehearsal dinner, welcome party, just like up in LA. So like 40 minutes from me. And I did kind of quote a little bit less, like maybe $2,000 less. So maybe what it looked like was that they technically kind of got rehearsal dinner complimentary. But again, like it was a educated decision that I made. It wasn't that I was just discounting to discount. So I think that there's a big difference in discounting out of, how do I want to say this? Discounting out of just like feeling like you have to versus discounting with a strategy in mind. So I think that's like the really big thing that we share with our students during our 12-week mastermind is how to make those more informed decisions and be able to take more educated risks rather than just like risks to be like, hey, I'm going to like discount and like hope that maybe like their sister hires me in like 3 years from now, you know? It's like, okay, hey, like I'm going after this because there is a qualified team behind this wedding. I am familiar with like, I want to get this venue on my portfolio, like all these different things. There's all these different check boxes that needs to be checked in order for you to make that call. So it sounds like, Taylor, you did that a couple times a year. I capped out, well, actually you should finish first on what you have going on behind the scenes, and then I'll take mine.
Cool. Yes. Okay. So that's that. 7 for this year. Great. I was aiming for 8, so fell short by 1. I'm not super sad about it. It's fine. Next year I have 3 booked so far, like officially booked. I have a couple proposals out. And I'm thinking next year, just based on like the pacing of how many I've booked so far at this point, sitting here in September, I think next year might be a little bit of a heavier year for me. I was just telling you this yesterday too when we were texting, but usually like it's not unheard of for me to only have 1 come like January 1st. So for me to like potentially have like almost 4 at this time, I feel like I'm sitting really well, which to me is so great. Like that's a great indication for maybe how things will look next year across the industry. Because as you all are, I'm sure, aware, ever since COVID, it's been so strange. So like 2020, no weddings. 2021, some places no weddings, some places lots of weddings. 2022 was the huge rebound year. It was like cramming all those years worth of weddings into 1 year. 2023, it kind of leveled out. And then I feel like people felt a little light this year in 2024. We saw that like across, you know, planners, photographers, filmmakers, everyone was really talking about it. But I think there's more hope for next year. In 2025, I think that maybe things are stabilizing a little bit, but it'll be really interesting because of all this talk of impending recession or things like that. And, you know, we can't control those things, but one thing you can control is the clients you're targeting, right? And so Kelley and I, we're here to help you reach the luxury market. And I think that in general, those higher wealth clientele are just less affected by the recession overall. Like they're not having to postpone their wedding by a year until they can afford it. They're not getting laid off from their jobs. They're not being foreclosed on in their homes, generally speaking. Like, you know what I mean? There's just a little bit more money freedom there, which then reflects to more lucrative, like, business years for those who serve them, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense. You know, I see a lot of fear in Facebook groups, people chatting about how this year was not great and how like next year is looking even worse or like things like that. And I almost wonder, because it's so hard to know how many years those people have been in business. And talking to a lot of people within like our workshop that we just hosted, a lot of people and like past mastermind students, there were a ton of people who started their business in 2020 or just like the year before. So they're kind of entering the industry in a time where, like we said, since COVID, the years have been so wonky. Like I had a solid 10 years in the industry before we were hit with COVID. And so I will say in that decade of my experience beforehand, we were climbing with like a growing like coming out of a recession, and a growing economy. So it was year after year pretty solid. But I will say since COVID, I have noticed a big change in being able to like set yourself up in a, man, my like pregnancy, or not pregnancy brain, my postpartum newborn, no sleeping brain is hitting me right now. But like, it's just hard to know. Right. And so like, I don't want people to kind of think that that's like the nature of business always for them. If they're just maybe say you're like 4 years into business, 5 years into business, like it is not always like this. There has been just like strange years, like Taylor said, like the influx of 2022 and like that kind of bleeding into 2023 and stuff. So, don't feel discouraged. I guess that's my main thing is like, if you're like year 4, 5, 3 before, don't feel discouraged, because in my experience 10 years prior, this wasn't like the climate of bookings.
Maybe it was a little bit more predictable.
That's what I was looking for. That was the word I was looking for. Predictable. Yeah, it's predictable. It's strange. I would say this year, my target number on weddings was 12. We hit 10, with actually a former postponement from 2023. They postponed their wedding, and they're going to be now getting married this November in a couple of months. So that will be our 11th wedding, but it technically was a booking from 2023.
Yeah, I know. I'm so glad to be past all of the like reschedules and everything. Like, that was such a nightmare. I mean, we got through it, but it was not a fun thing to do. Yeah. And then really quickly on the personal side, I feel like this one's just like chit chatty, you guys. If you ever want to just like feel what it feels like to like listen in on mine and Kelley's phone calls that we spend hours and hours every week, this is what it sounds like. So on the personal side, you guys, so I have a 3rd grader. I have 3 daughters. If you are like new to the podcast, if you're new to the podcast, this is your first episode, go listen to another one, because I promise we bring a lot of value. But so I have 3 daughters. They are 8, 6, and 2.5. She'll be 3 in December. So we're in 3rd grade, 1st grade, and daycare. And I feel like the game changes when your kids get older. They have like much more autonomy, I guess, is like the best way to say it. Like, they're really in control of things, more responsibility. Like, we have to do homework, we have to do these things. And now we're getting into like the world of sports. Like, my oldest is on like the pre-team for swimming, and then my middle is in soccer, and then my youngest is in swim lessons. And it's like, this is the first season where I feel like there's no room for like error, basically. Like, I wake up, I like get my exercise in, I work while they're at school from whatever 7:45 till I pick them up at 2, and then it's getting home, snacks, homework, sports, home, dinner, bath, bed, and then I'm exhausted. And I'm like not a night person whatsoever. I am 100% a morning person. And so by 8 o'clock every night, I'm just dead. I start to envy like nighttime people. Like, Kelley, you're more of a night owl.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've been trying to put myself to bed by like 10. Because
see, that's like so late to me.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. But I feel like our kids go to bed so late, and like if it would literally be like me just like putting them to bed, and then I would have like 0 time for myself at all. Like, so I kind of force myself to stay up so that I can at least kind of have like 90 minutes to like work on some work stuff or like do something for myself or whatever. But yeah, it's hard now too, because my newborn, well, he's not technically a newborn, I guess. He's 4 months now. So September, he was born May 15th of 2024. So he's still getting up like during the night. So 1 time at least, 2 times maybe. So yeah, my evenings aren't as late as they usually are, because I'll kick myself later on. And a lot of times too, like, as you guys maybe know, if you've been like a long time listener, you know that Paul and I have a totally separate corporate brand, and we generally have like at least 1 shoot a month, or sorry, 1 shoot a week. This week in particular, we have 2 shoots. So like tomorrow we'll be getting up at 5 to start getting ready for our shoot. And we had one last week where we got up at 5 to get ready for our shoot. And so it's just slightly sleep deprived, you know?
Yeah, I know. I feel bad for you. Every time I think of like complaining to you that I'm tired, I have to like immediately stop and be like, no, Kelley's tired. Like, you can't say that.
It's been a hard 4 months for sure. So this little break that we took from the podcast was really nice to be able to like focus in on some other areas that were absolutely neglected in life. But it's good to be back. It's good to be chatting with all of you guys. We love this podcast. We love offering this free resource to you guys. And if you have been a faithful listener since I was brought on, which was like about 16 months ago, I would say, it's been a lot of fun. I love it.
Yeah, it's been definitely more fun since you've been along for the ride. It was a lonely little journey there for a few years just by myself, and I don't think I realized how lonely it was until I like had you, and then I was like, "Oh, I can't even believe I did that like by myself." At the very beginning, if you guys, I think like a lot of these episodes are still up. So if you like scroll back like way all the way to the beginning, like the first, I don't know, maybe like 10 episodes are scripted. I like literally scripted them out and just read them.
You did not, did you?
I did. Yes, I did. So thanks for growing with us if you've been here since the beginning. I know actually a lot of you have been here since the beginning. I started it in January of 2020. So like before the pandemic, before we knew things were going to turn the way they did. But we've come a long way and things have taken shape in different ways and we've transformed. And I couldn't be more happy with how things are looking, honestly. So what's on the horizon? What are you looking at doing or accomplishing or not accomplishing, like maybe in the next, like through the end of the year?
Yeah. Let's see. So my year was a little bit different. It was very heavy in quarter 2 of 2024, and which was kind of terrible timing because that's when our third baby was born. So it was a huge hustle. Many of you guys maybe knew, but like I went back and shot my first wedding 10 days after having our third baby. And then following right after that, I shot another wedding up in Taylor's area, like traveled up to Napa and shot one like, I don't know, I think I was like 2.5 weeks postpartum. And we didn't even have an assistant for that one. It was like me and Paul. And then we had 2 weeks off. And then then at that point, he was 5 weeks old. And Paul and I flew across the country to Nantucket to film a wedding. And that was hard. And then the following weekend, we had another one. It was local, but it was just like bam, 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 bam. And so I think I was mentally prepared for that because those weddings were already on my calendar and you know that this baby is coming. And like I spent like just months just like mentally preparing for game day. It was like Super Bowl. Like this is my Super Bowl this month. Like I just got to get to July. And then we got to July and corporate work has blown up for us, which is a huge blessing. It's amazing. I'm so happy for Paul that he spearheads a lot of that side of the business. And I'm so happy that he's had this like crazy amount of success this year, but I just wasn't mentally prepared for that part of it. Right. And like Taylor and I, like you and I sat down and we put together our level up calendar. When was it? Like last November or something? Like we knew exactly when our launches were. We knew exactly like when we were doing our All-Star series for like the start of the summer, like we had everything planned out. And so like, that's where it felt manageable to me. And then corporate like is very last minute. I don't know if those who are listening do much like corporate work or branding work, but generally like the lead time for that is like at most a month. Like I think we just got, I don't know, like we booked one for like October 29th and that was like 6 weeks out. And that feels like a long time, like of a lead time. So it just comes out of nowhere. And so it's been this hard balance with adding on a third baby to corporate work, honestly becoming like the breadwinner of our income and like our time spent, how to juggle all that. So maybe had like slight bit of a mentee B 2 weeks ago. I like texted Taylor about it. And yeah, I'm just hoping to take like October to chill because I'll have like primarily all of my editing done. So then backtracking again, we had a bit of a break after that June. We had one wedding in July and then we'll have nothing wedding wise until September 2nd. So I'm going to have this like amazing like freedom of no editing for a while. And I'll just be able to focus on like mastermind stuff and like level up. And that's pretty much it. And I told Paul, like, I need a little bit of a break from corporate. And then I just want to like start working on like some self-care stuff for me, like be able to go to Pilates, be able to like work on my 10,000 steps a day. Like I just don't have time for any of that now. So it's like been kind of weighing on me that like I can't really do all that stuff. So anyways, sorry for like trauma dumping on all you guys, but it's been a really hard quarter 3. So I'm hoping quarter 4 I can like achieve a little bit more balance and set some boundaries.
I don't know. I think that having conversations like this are so important because all people know is whatever we post on Instagram or whatever. And it looks so fun. It looks like drinks with the friends on a Thursday night, or it looks like, oh, I just shot this really fancy wedding, blah, blah, blah. Like, and that's like the epitome of like social media being the highlight reel. Like it 100% is. You never know what's happening like in people's lives. We don't know what's happening in your guys' lives. And you don't know what's happening in ours. And so I feel like that's where just you really can't compare. And sometimes it's like the grass is always greener on the other side. Like it always seems like other people are living this like life of leisure or of luxury, or things just look so easy for them. But like that's probably not the case. We all have things happening. We all have so many commitments. And yeah, so if that's you, if you're like, oh my gosh, I also feel like I'm drowning and I'm having a slight mentee bee, just know you're not alone. We're there with you, but it's okay. Honestly, like I think it's just part of life, and busy seasons like this make us so appreciate the seasons of peace. You know, like have you ever woken up sick? Like you like were totally fine the previous day. You wake up and you just feel horrible, and you've never appreciated being well more than when you're sick. It's like that. It's like sometimes you can't appreciate like the peace and like the calm until it is the opposite.
Totally. Well, I was having a conversation with my dad about this because so he's an equine veterinarian, so he just specializes in horses, which is an interesting thing because he works for like very like top tier like equestrians and people that like compete in Grand Prix and like $1 million horses, things like that. So I think that's like also just a sign of like what Taylor and I teach in our mastermind, that like in the luxury market, like a specialty is what this type of clientele wants. So that's what my dad does. Fun fact. So we're talking about balance a little bit, and he was saying like it's just hard because you're working, and you're grateful to have the work and the clients, and then you forget that you can slow down and like appreciate the slowness because you're so scared that like where's that next paycheck coming. So it's almost like hard to relax in that way. Like say like you don't have a spouse that like has like a, you know, paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever it is. So part of that scared me a little bit, hearing that he's been doing this for 40 something years and like it's never changed for him. So like it got me thinking about like how can I break that mold for myself as an entrepreneur in finding peace in those restful seasons, those slower seasons, rather than just like constantly panicking, because I definitely am the same way. Like, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to slow down. And then I know that like come October and like say we haven't booked anything for a while, or maybe we've turned down some corporate clients that like during that little sabbatical that we took, then you kind of freak out. The like, okay, is it going to come back? Are we going to be okay? Christmas is around the corner. I don't know. I'm just like already thinking about all the things, but it's hard. This entrepreneur life can be really, really tough, and it can be hard on the mental health for sure.
Yeah, well, it's just the feeling of like a lack of security, I think. Like it's not, we don't just clock in and clock out, or we get sick days and vacation time and things like that. So it's just a completely different beast, but I feel like it has so many things that the other side doesn't have, like the freedom. Like you can, if you're a night owl, okay, you sleep until 11 or noon, you do whatever, and then you work from like 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. I don't know. Like I know there's people out there that do that, like, and that's super cool. And like some people love to travel the world. And like if you do destination stuff, like this allows you to do that while like earning money, and you know what I mean? So I feel like it's like, so like the pro and con list is extensive, and it's just like you gotta love the game, I guess, if you want to stay in it. I know we have very similar personality types. And I don't know, I feel like a few years ago, the Enneagram was a lot bigger than it is now, but we're both Enneagram 3s. So I'd actually love to know if you're listening to this, wherever you are, whenever you are, open Instagram and just like shoot us a little DM at the Level Up Co. and tell us what your Enneagram is. We'd be so curious to hear what everyone's are, because I have a feeling there's a lot of 3s out there. And if you're not familiar with the Enneagram, that's the achiever. So it's people who are literally driven by like progress and like showing others that you are successful. Basically, it's not all intrinsic. Like some of it is like you need like people to like see that you're doing well, which sounds kind of icky, but once you embrace it, it's like, okay, I guess. So this like constant need for progress, this constant need for growth, and like for like what's next. I almost feel like we get addicted. Like we were literally just talking about this the other day. Like you get addicted to the stress a little bit. Like, and I think that it's probably not healthy, but like I feel absolutely addicted to like the adrenaline and like the stress of like always seeking out the newness or like the progress or the what's next. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people will be able to relate with that, especially if you are somebody who's in the wedding industry who's trying to grow your business. Like you're trying to get to that next level. You're trying to reach that new market. Like you probably have at least a little bit of that in you. And if you don't, then I would love to know your secret.
Yeah, right? What's your like, so I'm a 3, is it a wing?
Yeah.
So I'm a 3 wing 2. What are you?
I don't know. Okay, so I am definitely not a 3 wing 2. I know that. I might be a 3 wing 4, but I might just be like a straight 3. So a 2 is like the helper. It's like you want to like help other people. That's like what gives you life. A 4 are like the individual, like the individualist. Like you like to be really unique and like you don't like to follow the crowd. You really like to like break the mold, whatever it is. But I don't know. I don't think I'm either. I could see you as a 4. Things. Maybe
I think I could see you as a 4.
I do like to zag when other people zig, or like to zig when other people zag, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The unexpected, maybe.
Right. But I know so many 3s in the industry. Like talking to different planners, if we get on the conversation of this, like so many 3s. I know that Brooke Keegan is a 3. I think I've even seen that like Jenna Kutcher, she's a 3. She's talked about it. Like, so yeah, tons of entrepreneurs, I think, fall into that number 3 category, which is great.
Yeah, I think you need it a little bit in order to like keep your head in the game. Okay, let's talk about level up stuff. So so we're back to the podcast. Hooray. We have some really great speakers lined up heading into this fall. We have like Maggie Fisher, Lauren Fair, Eric McVeigh, just to name a few. We have some really great like podcast guests coming on. We're excited about. We're going to be recording over the next few weeks. So that's always really exciting and fun. And then we have some things going on for like as we approach Black Friday. I'm not going to say what it is, but make sure to keep an eye out because we have some juicy things that we're going to be rolling out in November, which is very exciting. And then this is something that's brand new. So we've always kind of done this like open cart, closed cart kind of deal, right? With our course and our mastermind, which is still partly true, but we actually have decided to offer the Luxury Framework, which is our pre-recorded course, which is like 4 hours of content. It's going evergreen. So if you want to purchase that, if you've had your eye on it, you can now do that whenever you may be listening to this. So if you just go to our website, thelevelupco.com, it's just right there. Like you'll be able to see it like in the menu bar, and then it'll also be linked in our shop. It'll kind of be everywhere, so it's easy to find. But that's something really exciting because I know sometimes people find us for the very first time, like right after we launch, and then they have to wait a long time to be able to get their hands on it. So we just didn't want that to be the case for people. We wanted you to be able to have access to this information whenever you feel like you are ready for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because, you know, there's different regions that have different seasons. And so we have been kind of open cart, closed cart every, 4 months or so, Taylor?
Yeah, we were doing like 5.5. Like we were aiming for that 6-month mark, but sometimes the timing didn't really line up. So we've been just like five and some change. Mm-hmm.
Right. The course is so good. It's no fluff. It's like that's why it's like 4 hours long. And when you purchase the course, you have like access to feature updates. So we had actually just like 3 months ago added like another hour worth of content, directed primarily to photographers this time because it was more filmmaker heavy. And then we do have plans to re-record the course in the next 6 months, so that everything's just staying up to date. We all work and operate in a ever-changing industry. Like it's very fashion led. Fashion moves quickly. It's, once something new is brought in one season, something's out of style the next season. And so that's very much, I feel like, how the wedding industry is. And so we want to be sure that our course is putting out the most up-to-date information, staying at the forefront of where the market is heading, especially the luxury market, so that you're able to align your brand in a way that is current and ahead of the curve a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're really excited. And then trying to think of other things. We will be coming out with a brand new offer that we've never talked about ever before in January, you guys. So this is like, I don't want to spoil the surprise quite yet. We're not ready to like unveil it, but Kelley and I are addicted to stress, obviously. So we are like back here drowning, but also very, very excitedly working on like and outlining the next thing that we will be offering, which is going to be valuable in a completely different way from what we've ever done before. So if I don't want to spoil it, but just keep an eye out.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of people were really surprised when we launched last time, and we were like, this might be the last time that we launched the Luxury Mastermind. And people were like, why? Like, the program is so incredible. Like, I need all of my friends to take this program at some point. And we did get a lot of DMs and frantic DMs and emails of like, wait, what's happening? Why is this happening? And, like I told you last November, Taylor and I basically mapped out our entire 2024, knowing like when exactly we were going to be launching. And so I think what we meant by this is like, we do love the Luxury Mastermind. It is an incredible program. Our students have seen the most incredible success from it, but there's a little bit of a change in the wind, I feel like, in our industry. And so Taylor and I want to be sure that we are serving this community the best way we can. And because of like a little bit of the winds shifting in the industry, we want to be sure that we are allowing education for that. So I don't know. There's so much we could talk about, but I guess we should just wait because I mean, Taylor and I still need to get together and like really boil this all down.
Yeah, we have not yet dotted our I's or crossed our T's yet. But it's gonna be really good. And it's I'll give this like one tiny little teaser. It's going to help you make more money, which we all probably feel like we need. Again, with like talk of like impending recession, blah, 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 it's gonna bring a little bit like a layer of security to you, where whoever you are. And so yeah, I'll just leave you at that, and you'll have to keep an eye out. Maybe we'll put together a wait list. Maybe like in the next couple episodes here, we'll like unveil a wait list for you to hop on so we can kind of gauge interest, and so that you can be the first notified when announcements do come out. But we don't have the wait list ready quite yet. This is still in its like baby form. But anyway, that's why Kelley and I are multi-passionate too. We love to do all the different things, and that fills our creative cups. Like, as creatives, which we are, Kelley, you correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak for you, but like, I don't feel fully satisfied as like a human being unless I'm making something new. And sometimes that comes in the form of filming weddings and like shooting things I've never shot before, editing in ways I've never edited before. But a lot of times it comes from like creating new websites, or it comes from creating new graphics in Canva, or it comes from scripting out new courses, or it comes from like delving and like learning a deeper layer into like things that I like had a more surface level like baseline knowledge of, but I wanted to be able to like dig in deeper. And so for me, like doing these new things like fills that creative cup as a human being for me personally. I can't just like do the same thing over and over and over and over again and feel fulfilled.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then the wing two in me, the helper, I just want to be creating these things to help people, which
I mean,
we
me
wouldn't be
too,
doing.
but
yeah, no, totally. It's, you know, it's something that Level Up was, I think, born, or especially when you brought me on, it was born from a place of how can we serve and fill in gaps in education that our industry is missing. And I felt like the Luxury Mastermind. I keep on doing that. The Luxury Mastermind has done that super, super well. And, you know, maybe at some point we'll bring it back again. And I'm really excited about this round. We have a great group of students in this mastermind. Taylor and I text all the time and just say like how much we love them. They're so great. Like they're eager, they're forgiving, they are open to change, like everything you want in students to see real success. So we're loving this group that we're in right now. We love the mastermind. We'll see what's next. But like I said, we're multi-passionate about lots of things, and we're excited to bring a new offer to you all in 2025.
Yes. So if you didn't enroll in the Luxury Mastermind this last time we opened the doors just a few weeks ago, I wouldn't necessarily quote unquote like wait for it again. I would just hop into Framework, just grab the course, and then if and when we do reopen enrollment for the mastermind, you can upgrade. We've had students upgrade in the past who had purchased Framework that previous round and then upgraded the next round, and that's amazing and fine and dandy, and you can totally do that. So don't wait. Your business can't afford to wait. You can't afford to wait. You're literally losing money as the seconds tick by. So just go grab it if you want to. If that's been something that's been in the back of your mind, just go grab it. Don't wait. That's, I feel like something that is hard to like to get used to too is I think that a lot of people, if you're like a purchaser, well, we're all purchasers. We're all consumers, right? Some people really sit on purchases. Like they have to research all of the best things and read all the reviews and like take their time to really figure out exactly what they want. And then there's people who maybe is slightly more compulsive and they just like buy all the things or buy the things that they feel like they want, and maybe you're somewhere in the middle. And I feel like sometimes it's really, really great to sit on things for a long time, but if you go too long, then like sometimes the opportunities pass you by. So like my husband and I are guilty of this for vacations. We're like, I really want to go to Hawaii, Mexico, I don't know, wherever. And like, we'll like look at all the resorts or look at all the flight times, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, like 8 weeks have gone by and like, we're like, oh my God, when we wanted to go is literally next month. And like, there's no room left at these resorts anymore. And like, that was the month we were going to go on vacation. So like, crap, like we have to pick somewhere else, or we have to wait until like the spring to go on vacation, right? So it can really like bite you in the butt a little bit if you wait too long. Totally. And I'm not saying that just for our course. If there's something out there that you want or that you've been eyeing that's not us related, like the same thing still applies.
Take action.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get started at some point. And like you were saying about like, oh crap, we've done all this research and now all of a sudden this vacation's coming up. I think of this as like, oh, as a filmmaker or photographer, you're like, hey, I want to learn how to work alongside planners better. I want to learn how to build relationships with planners. And then all of a sudden you have a planner that lands in your inbox and you're like, oh crap, I have no idea what to do. Like, how do I approach this? Like, they're wanting a proposal. What's a proposal? Or like, you know, things like that. You don't want that opportunity to pass you by. So, get started. Hop into Framework. We're excited that it's evergreen now for you. And I know that you're really going to love it.
Yeah. Oh, and you can find, oh wait, I already said it on the website. I was gonna say theloveofco.com/the luxury framework, which is also where you can find it. But okay, hopefully this has been enjoyable for you guys. It was just like, I feel like a very needed casual conversation. We love teaching you, but we also love being in a relationship with you guys. Like, I feel like, of course, we're like in your earbuds right now or playing in your car or wherever you're listening. And so it feels one way, but we have so many conversations with you guys, like in the DMs, on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever. And we want to feel like we're friends. And I feel like we can only be friends if we're real with you guys sometimes. So I feel like this is necessary.
We're real people. People ask how we do it all. Sometimes we have it all together and sometimes we have some NTBs along the way. But
we do it crying in a corner.
Yep. Yeah. Or sobbing on your way to a shoot like I did, but it's fine. Yeah, no, it's good. I love the authenticity of, I think that's one thing that we hear a lot of from students is they're like, I love how you guys are so authentic and real and approachable. And I take that as a huge compliment. I know that Taylor, you do too. And thank you guys for listening to us. Thank you for being in relationship with us. And we enjoy, coming to your AirPods weekly, and we look forward to continuing to do so from now on.
Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.